Well, they do have a system at the moment in the Mediterranean of boats which are run by the European Union agency called Frontex, which essentially is the agency which is tasked with monitoring the borders and preventing illegal migration. Those boats, if the European Commission gets its way, and that involves countries in Europe spending more money to provide the resources, those boats would be multiplied in number and spread much more widely geographically across the whole of the Mediterranean, in the words of the European Commission, from Cyprus to Spain, in an effort to try and pick up boats in trouble. So, as I say, they already have a monitoring system in place. They want to try and beef it up.
So the EU seems to be speaking with one voice on this, perhaps?
Well, I mean, look, this is a Commission proposal at the moment, and there are various levels of agreement amongst the member states. France, for instance, has said there must be no more bodies washing up on the shores of the European Union. But it's not just about patrolling. I mean, one other thing which is not being spoken about today that the European Union has been doing is trying to prevent migrants coming to Europe in the first place. I think we all have to assume that it's going to continue to happen, especially with the instability that's happening in the Middle East and in parts of North Africa at the moment. There have been far more migrants coming over, certainly this year and back in 2011 when some of the other uprisings were taking place. But in addition to that, remember that in essence you have an incredibly impoverished continent, Africa, in which there are an awful lot of poor people who have dreams and desires to get to Europe. So that will continue. What the EU has tried to do with countries like Morocco and others is to sign agreements preventing people smugglers managing to bring people across in the first place. So they're trying to stop them leaving North Africa and the Middle East in the first place. In second part, they're trying to monitor their progress and to send them back more often if possible. And thirdly, then they're going to try and put more boats into the Mediterranean to try and make sure that those who do get into trouble don't suffer the terrible consequences of the migrants last week.